Hello, welcome to the Cantina Education YouTube channel. I'm Luke Green and I'll be your guest during your journey into Web3 security through Cantina. So I'm guessing that if you find yourself here, you must have some sort of knowledge related to Ethereum and EVM. So just as a refresher, I want you to recall that Ethereum is a next generation blockchain that supports a Turing-complete programming language, the EVM, which enables the execution of almost anything you can imagine. So this is what ultimately powers decentralized applications, which are in principle universally accessible and censorship resistant. These applications store their logic and state in the Ethereum blockchain, and their integrity is ensured by the cryptographic principles that sustain Ethereum itself. However, mastering the EVM low-level language is not a trivial task. Therefore, several high-level languages have been created to ease the development of decentralized applications, being Solidity and Viper the most used. So as mentioned, the logic of decentralized applications is stored in the Ethereum blockchain and is immutable. So you can guess that if there happens to be specification, even documentation, design, or implementation bug in the logic, users of said applications may be vulnerable to attacks or unfair runtimes. Security researchers are highly skilled EVM, Ethereum, Solidity, Viper, other languages, experts that work hard to detect and report security issues in these applications. So traditionally, these security assessments happen through security reviews, but other successful models such as security competitions or bug bounty programs also exist nowadays. So as a security researcher, besides accumulating a great deal of technical knowledge involving Ethereum, EVM, high-level languages such as Solidity, Viper, and others, you will also need to think outside of the box and use all your knowledge, even if it does not seem to be directly related with EVM, in creative ways to detect as many security issues as possible. But remember, although security review does not ensure that a code base is bug-free, your ultimate goal will always be improving a protocol's security posture, decreasing their attack surface, and mitigating all possible risks. So in order to accomplish this, security researchers have a variety of tools and analysis techniques. Some researchers become specialized in certain specific tools, but I'd recommend you to be familiar with all of them before deciding to dive deeply into one. So some tools and techniques are like manual review, right? It's the most common one, the most general one, as it involves reading and understanding each part of the protocol. This also involves documentation, specifications, and if possible, comparison with other protocols that want to accomplish similar objectives. Be creative and use the tools that suit you best. Miro, PowerPoint, Notion, or nothing at all, right? Then we have fuzzing. It's an automated software testing technique that tests the robustness of a protocol by running it with random inputs and evaluating their output. The objective is to encounter possible invalid or unexpected inputs that may violate the protocol's specification, clearly indicating that something's off in the logic. Most researchers use Foundry's fuzzing suite, but Trail of Bits, Echidna, or Medusa are also exist and widely used. Back in the day, Consensus Mythics was also commonly used. And finally, I would want to talk about symbolic checking and formal verification. So these are also automated techniques which convert a protocol logic into symbolic instruction. So picture it as a mathematical equation, right? And symbolic checking proves the correctness of a program using the symbolic inputs. So like, imagine fuzzing, but instead of throwing random inputs, we are like solving this equation. And formal verification ensures that logic conforms to a certain set of specifications. At Cantina, researchers may use any technique or tooling they want. Cantina Code provides the infrastructure so that security researchers perform manual analysis in a single place, in the most comfortable and simple way possible. So let's talk a little bit about Cantina. So given that you're here, you must be somewhat familiar with Cantina. Cantina is a marketplace for Web3 and Web2 security solutions that enables organizations to easily book security services with their desired team, price, and timeframe. Cantina offers several services, such as Cantina Reviews, in which Cantina assembles a team of highly qualified security researchers and manages the security review throughout the entire lifecycle. Cantina Competitions, in which hundreds of skilled security researchers review a code base for vulnerabilities, incentivized by a price pot provided by the protocol. Cantina Bounties, in which Cantina coordinates a bug bounty program where security researchers are rewarded for finding vulnerabilities in the protocol. And the Cantina Guilds, which enables protocols to access a set of niche security researchers with expertise in particular areas. So these services rely on two essential components. First, security researchers that perform the security assessments, that's you, and the Cantina Code infrastructure, which facilitates the security assessments, communication, and payments. So in the remainder of this section, we'll explore the structure of the Cantina Code and how a repository looks like, and we'll cover the basics of working with the Cantina environment. Okay, so let's go with the repository. To access a Cantina Code repository or any other kind of service provided by Cantina, first you must register in the Cantina platform. Once registered, you will have to either be invited to a repository or join a public competition or bounty program. So here in my screen, you'll have my general dashboard. This is my user. And to access the repositories, we can click on the repositories tab at the top of the page right here. You'll see that several repositories show up. Let's go for this one. Right, now we're inside a repository. Here in the top right corner of the screen, you'll see a couple of details about the repository itself. So you see, for instance, collaborative review, which is the type of review that's being performed in this repository. You'll see live, which indicates that the repository is currently active. This is especially relevant for competitions, which have this very strict time frame in which you can participate. Then you have here security researcher, which is the role that you are currently performing in the repository. You could be client or you could be judge, for example. My case right here, I'm a security researcher. And then you'll have this participating solo. This indicates that you're currently working as a single entity in this repository. You could be working on it with a team or with other researchers, right? In the top left corner of your screen, you'll see the name of the protocol that booked the security review. In this example, you'll see it's Arrakis Finance, and the name of the repository that you're currently working on. In this case, Cantina Education Session 1, along with several tabs. So let's go through the tabs. On the Code Review tab, you'll find the code base that you'll be reviewing. The environment will feel very familiar, as Cantina Code repository shares many similarities with a GitHub repository. So this is basically the place where the manual review will take place, right? You can navigate through the repository, different directories, right? Here's some code, counter, you can have more source code, right? Scripts. You can choose to view all files, right? Or focus only on the files in scope. In this particular case, there's no difference because I have said that all the files are in scope. But you'll see that depending on the project, certain files are in scope and others are not in scope. Then you have the comments tab. Here you will find an aggregated view of all the comments made by the reviewers along with the replies for those comments. In addition, you can see the pings that have been made for you for a quicker turnaround. And then on the findings tab, you'll find the list of all the findings that have been reported by the reviewers. So right now we don't have any findings. This repository is fresh, but if we had a couple findings, we would have here, right here on the right, a number indicating the number of findings present. You can filter the findings by status. You can filter by researcher, In this case, there's just me, so it doesn't make much sense. Or labels. This is especially interesting if you're doing competitions. You have severity filters and you can sort them by different criteria. So note that status, by default, spam and withdrawn issues are not selected. This is very relevant when we're talking about contests, where we're not interested in checking spam, and also normal reviews, withdrawn issues are issues that are going to be forgotten about. So yeah, these have been the very basics of the Cantina Code repository. Next session, we'll walk through a simple demo on how to perform a minor review in such a Cantina Code repository. We'll write some issues, we'll make some comments, and you can see Cantina in action. So for now, I encourage you to register on the Cantina platform and explore everything it has to offer on your own. Take care and see you in the Cantina.